Hello, ladies and lads, and welcome to Editing 101. This is a new series I decided to do after being bombarded in the DMs by people asking for tips and stuff on how to make their videos look better. This series is more or less going to apply to those people who aren't editors, who aren't trying to learn how to edit, who are simply just people trying to make their own montages without having to rely on other people. And I feel this will be very helpful, especially to you guys who don't know where to even get started. So, with each episode of this series, I'm going to take it simple. I'm going to bring you step by step through everything that I think you should worry about as a simple, just put it as putting together a simple video. So this is going to be multiple episodes, but this one is primarily going to be about sync, and we'll dabble into a little bit of text. The one thing I'm going to stress, but it's not necessary, it's all about organization. So if I open up this folder, you can see I have a ton of folders preset, and it's just my new edits folder. My new edit folder looks like this. I changed the name of my project. I download my songs and put them in here. My clips are here. I have all my gun sounds and sound effects ready. I don't really ever use my sound effects, but I do have them in case I do need them. So now, if we look back at the Editing 101 folder, which is going to be the folder I'm going to be using for all of the episodes, I have clips on games that people say are the hardest to edit, and I'm going to work with those, considering that since they're quote-unquote the hardest, you guys should be able to overcome your clip editing fears, because personally I don't even really see a problem at all with editing any of these games. BO1 is probably the easiest out of the bunch, and actually Ghost is, then it would be BO1, then I'd say it's IW, World War II, then AW. But, regardless, let's take a look at our project file. So there's nothing in any of these folders yet, aside from this one. We have a song picked out, and our project file. Alright, now if you notice, there's a little bar underneath our video track already. And with that little bar, that is where the little keyframes will pop up for whatever effects you do on the track. Not many people do this, so you don't have to. And again, this is just something I'd prefer. I'm going to set this to preview quarter, just because it's what my computer can handle. And if I open up this little green button, track effects, you see all of the effects I have set. I have my CC after the composite, but I haven't used this CC in months. It's just presetted my thing, and here are all the effects that I'd typically use in a video. You can write this stuff down if you want, but again, effects are all subjective, and this video is not going to focus on effects. I just figured I would show you this, just so you understand. So I'm going to exit out of this, and now I'm going to show you guys how to properly set up your tracks. So what I like to do is I like to have an audio track underneath here for my gun sounds. And again, this is all subjective. This is all a matter of preference. I also like to have another audio track above my clip for the song. So it'll be like a song, clip, gun sound sandwich. Okay? And we'll put another video track above it all for black bars. Sorry, boys and girls. It is very, very early in the morning. Anyway, we're gonna grab our song and drag it in to this specific layer that we picked. And here it is. It's all laid out. We're all ready to go now, I would say. So, what people neglect to bring up when they talk about how to edit, oh, all it takes is practice, all it takes is this. No, that's not necessarily the truth. Editing isn't very, I wouldn't say, it's not, after you learn it, it's not hard, but it's hard to learn. And a lot of the things that make it hard to learn are things that most people can't control or aren't willing to improve on. For example, I'd say personally to edit you have to be musically conscious, and by that I mean you have to be able to feel a song. You have to be able to know where a shot should go, and no amount of studying the waveform is going to make you good at that. And it's a weird thing to say because I know a lot of people rely on the waveform that edit, but what I like to do is I like to listen to the song, find the beat, and then study the waveform to match it up with the beat that I found that I desire. So right now, I'm going to show you guys with one of the clips how to just drag and drop it. And that's a little weird that I'd be showing you that. But if you want to make videos that are subpar, that aren't crazy, this is the simplest of ways to put your video together. So let's find a beat, and let's pick out our shortest clip. Our shortest clip is probably going to be this one. But I've actually realized we can just kind of do this here. So you see that's a pretty hefty chord. So we'll drag in our clip. Always hit no on this. I'll pull up my composition settings now. Everybody write these down. These are the settings I use to succeed with my edits. Again, if you want to switch things up, all on you, but this is what I do. Very important that you use these, and when you drag in your first clip, you always hit no whenever it asks you to configure your project or whatever the hell it may be. You always want those composition settings. Okay, so now we're going to find our clip, which is right around here, isn't it? Okay, so now we find it. Normally, which I'll get into after this, I would advise that you guys split it on every shot. But for this lazy method of editing, you only really want to split it on one. Or, yeah, on the last shot. If you see right here, this is where he shoots, the ammo goes down, the flare goes off. This is what you need to pay attention to every single time you edit a clip. You need to find where you can visually observe a gunshot beginning. Not the bullet counter, but right here, you see this flare? That is the bullet trail. Bam. We split it on that, and a lot of this clip is useless. So we're gonna cut it off to around here. And then we'll just drag it here. Bam. We could drag it in all the way to the beginning, and since it's the first clip, we can have some composite level action. You do not use this tool. This tool right here, there's a lot of things wrong with it. You always want to right click the track, insert video or remove envelope, and click composite level. Clicking composite level, you can adjust similar to the way velocity works. Using composite level, you can adjust the opacity of your clip with points on the timeline, and this can be done between clips. With the thing that I find wrong with this tool, I don't know what you would even call it, the fade in, offset, whatever, okay? The thing that I find wrong with this tool is it never looks like it will when you render it. However, with this tool, it always looks exactly as it looks when you render. So yeah, so we'll save our project. Always get into the habit of Control S, Control S, Control S. You can see these little flickers going on with my shit, and that's because I hit Control S literally every 2 seconds. So now let's watch this, let's see how it looks. And it's just from dragging it in accordingly. I haven't even messed with the sound. As you can see, it's literally just the raw clip. It's funny because it sunk the triple headshot beat after too, which was really unintentional, but that's for very simplistic, whatever you're trying to do that isn't, you know, too crazy, or if you really don't want to take this too seriously but you still want there to be some element of quality. All you have to do is sync the major shots, like for the 5-ons, for the quad heads, for the triple headshots. You want to sync the major points to major beats. That is all you have to do. That you could click off this now if you're trying to be simplistic. However, there is more that we can do. So let's go after this triple headshot beat. Where is the triple headshot beat? I'm actually going to sync this because it's probably going to bother me that it's not specifically on cue. I'm having trouble finding this flare. I believe it's right here. Yeah, you see the flare right there. So now let's find the beat perfectly. And you can, I don't even need to control drag this. I just drag it over because it's such a small change in frames. I thought I dragged that to the cursor, but I didn't. So you drag it right there. No control dragging, it was just dragging. And it'll still look just as good. So now we're going to go right here to this beat. We're going to set a marker. We're going to split it off and delete. For the simplistic style, see, I'm going to set a marker here because it's going to bother me. But for the simplistic thing that I'm trying to get out of the way here, what you'd want to do is you want to hit U on your keyboard to separate the clip from its gun sound. And you want to go ahead and just control drag this to your desire, get it slow. And we'll just finish the drag. And then on that beat that I selected, I cut it off, so it just matches the marker, and we're ready to go on into our next clip. But before we do, let me sort out the audio for the clip right here, just so it makes sense. On our gun sound layer, you always want to have it set to 12 because most people's gun sounds fluctuate. They're totally different sounds for each person, so you always want to have it so it can be as high as it can, and you lower it yourself. So basically, we're going to click this, we're going to hold control and click the other one, and we're going to hit U to disconnect them again. And now, just so it's seamless, we're going to fade them together ever so slightly. If there's anything peaking over here when I fade, you just want to make that fade shorter. You just want to make it, because if I turn this off, I'm not going to press play, you can see that it, by default, cuts like that, and it's weird. It'll literally, you'll hear a little skip, and it's the most faint thing. And not only is it the most faint thing, but it's the most faint thing with music over it. So you can imagine how unnecessary it is, but yeah. So, as you can see, this is how it'll look, but we're not done. You can see right here that there's actually a delay between what you hear and what you see, and this is what you play with. You just wouldn't notice it. However, what we're going to do is we're going to fix that. So we're going to shorten that, click the first, hold shift, hit the last. This selects everything on the way to the last one you clicked. And right here on this beat, this is the most, I'd say, the easiest one to see. Bam, we drag the gun sound. Now the gunshots are perfectly synced. And there's very little you have to do. Again, this is just for the simplistic editors, so any of you guys tuning in that are really good, don't hate on me. Alright, I'm just trying to help some dudes out. Right here, what you want to do is you want to right-click the audio track, you want to click Insert, Remove Envelope, and you want to hit Volume. It's very similar to Composite. It's just always something good to have on. You can, just like I did in the beginning here, let me find that first shot. Okay, so right here, like you had in the beginning for the video, you just want to fade it in. Just something simple, just so it's easier on the ears rather than it just being full-on gun sounds going on. And let's see how loud this is. Got it. So it's super loud because he has decent quality and he isn't brain dead. But now that it's decently loud, you want to lower it down, and you can use just the gain tool. Just drag it from the top, like the top mid. You see this little button? That's what you want to use to drag down. And again, I had clicked the first, held shift, clicked the last, just so I can select them all at once, so it's easier on me. Too quiet. Now these might be too loud because it's before the music picks up. Yeah. So the others are set. These need to be lower just a little. Perfect. I might lower this one a tad and then raise that one there. It's just to emphasize, the quad ad. Oh my god, big deal part of the clip. Cool. So that's cool, that's set, that's done. Now it's time to focus on what's next. So, as I was saying, what you have to do when you're editing is focus on what you hear. It's about what you hear, it's not about what you see, and it's not about what you're studying on the waveform. It's about knowing what you want to do and where you want it to go. So out of these clips we have left, I think I might want to start with the AW clip, just so I can get it out of the way. Let me see, watching the clip, where I'd want to begin. So we can probably show all these shots. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, cool. So it's a 6-shot clip. He has some movement action. Jamskis is probably one of the best on AW. Again, with the good audio. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to not worry about the audio right now. We're going to right-click the clip. We're going to hit Properties. We're going to hit Maintain Aspect Ratio and disable Resample. Everybody was asked me why I'd untick Maintain Aspect Ratio. And to be honest, it's just something I've always done. Don't hate me, alright? There's a good reason to have it on, but you don't need to have it on unless it's to fulfill that reason. So I only turn it back on in the event that I use it for a specific reason. And I doubt anybody will run into that reason, but I will explain it in one of the next videos. So we hit OK. And now, of course, you see me Control S spamming again. Now we're going to split it on every shot. Like I was saying, this is very important. So right here, you see, we found the shot. Bam. That's another shot. I'm gonna try my hardest not to press play over and over, because that's usually how I navigate the clip when I'm trying to find the gunshots. So right here, we got another. His shot is just stupid. It's actually unfair. Okay, we got another. Sorry, I right-clicked by accident. Okay, I thought I dragged it. Okay. Then we find another shot. Then another shot. Alright, so that's a shot that we don't need to worry about. So we're going to split it, we're going to drag it, whatever the hell you want to do. And actually, something that I've found myself doing recently, I always delete the beginning. And that's just so I can focus on the shots and then work my way around the shots after they're done. So now what we're going to do, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots to worry about.
Cigarette smoke fills the room as my...
Okay. So I missed a shot, and it's right here. Again, so we're going to split it off, and then we're going to extend it out just to have some working room. We're not going to worry about this shot right here that goes off, because it's not going to be in the video. So we have 6 shots that we need to... We have 6 shots we need to sync. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find where they're going to go. So we have one desirable beat right here. So that's bang. The time between the shots on this game are relatively long, so if I drag this over, that's literally the halfway point. So we're going to have 2 beats, and I'm going to show you guys with this clip how to use velocity. And velocity is going to be very helpful in terms of how to flow your clips. So this will be a very good part to note. However, you don't have to use velocity, and you can simply control drag to get the same effect, but at a lesser standard, if you will. But it'll still be an appreciable standard to show that you've put the video together. And that's what this video is about. So let's focus on this. So we have that first beat pronounced. We have this one right here. Again, you can study the waveform, and hopefully you get good at it. You're going to need to find very simple songs to fulfill that threshold. So don't take offense to anybody out there who can't just feel it. But that's what I'd suggest. You gotta get a little rhythm in you. So let's just keep finding beats. Right here, there's another. And again, we're gonna need to find double. So there's 6 shots, we need to find 12. As you can see right here, this is where it gets like, it crunches and the wave begins for the beat, so that's how you can tell the difference. See, right here, you always want to go behind it if it's one of those weird where the beat is between frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 more to go.
Cigarette smoke fills the
Ironically, that's not true.
cigarette smoke fills the room. Cigarette, 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 cigarette smoke fills the room. Cigarette smoke fills the room as my lungs turn. Cigarette smoke fills the room as my cigarette smoke fills the room as my smoke fills the room as my room as my room as my room as my lungs.
Alright, so we've laid out quite a few markers now, and they're all on specific beats that are going to help us here. So what we want to do is we simply want to drag them in. We probably want to put this shot on here, on this beat. And then we'll just follow the trend, so we'll put them on every other marker. So we just ignore the blank spaces and drag them on. Make sure that we're not accidentally, because sometimes the clip could be too long, or like the space between the shots can be too long, because obviously it'll vary. We just want to make sure that it's every other beat. Perfect.
Cigarette smoke.
Alright, so there's a more desirable beat to end it on, which is right here. So we're going to shift everything over, and again we work around it. So right there is a more desirable beat to end on. So we just drag everything over, again, every other beat. Perfect. Now, what we're going to do before we do anything is we're going to click the first video clip, we're going to click the last, and we're going to hit U to disconnect them. So now the gun sounds are perfectly in place. Well, not perfectly, but right now the gun sounds, because all the gunshots are sunk up, so are the gun sounds. And by that I mean, since obviously they're not perfect, the gunshots are laid out at the same. So again, let's go back. You see how the gunshots are off here? It's not perfect. The gun sound starts right here, right? But all of them have that same time lag. So all we'd have to do is drag them all when we're ready and line them all up. Anyway, back onto the clip, which is the more important bit. Let's drag out the beginning a little bit so we can find some stuff to sync. So we can sync this miss right here, which is going to be interesting. So let's see what happens if we sync this shot right here and stretch it out. So we're going to right click and we're going to hit velocity. And here is where you should start taking notes. Velocity is a very useful tool that you can use to manipulate flow, and basically you adjust the speeds of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click, we're going to right click, we're going to hit velocity, and now you can see it brings up a line, and this line can adjust the speed. You can also set points and have the speed change. It's some crazy stuff. Technology these days is pretty intense. What I would recommend you pay attention to is this vert ramp style velo that I have got myself into. What you want to do is you want to have, there's a default point right there, so you don't have to set one there, but you want to set one here, and you want to set one on the marker. Then you want to set a point in between, drag it to the first point here, and you want to bring it up. What this does, it's going to create a burst in speed. It's probably not going to be going that high. And now you want to set the burst in speed for the beginning as well, just so there is a burst in speed. So it's going to look like this. It's not going to be doing anything you'd want it to do yet, but give it time. So now you go here to this middle marker, and now we're going to drag this line down between these points. Between these points, we're going to drag the line down until we find something that would be desirable to have the speed burst on. So maybe right here. Wait, let's see what's down. 38 is the lowest you should ever go. Okay, so right here is where the jump kind of starts, even though we're going to be a little late to the party. But the boost, and you see that? Like, I'm literally going frame by frame, and you can see what I'm talking about. Just the change in speed. It's going to add so much flow to your videos. So then we'll go over here to this marker, which is the next cut. This is where the next shot happens, and we're going to go back one frame, and we're going to yank this line down to get right before the shot like that. You can use another one of these. We're going to make a marker here, we're going to put it here, and this time we're going to make it a slow fade. And you see how it creates this beautiful vert ramp? It looks like you're about to absolutely annihilate a skate park over here with Tony, what's his name? Tony Hawk. There it is. So, again, you want to pay attention to this style right here. I know right here it's a straight line, but right here you see I created that little vert ramp shape. So what you want to do is you want to click here again, go one frame back so you can see what you would see right before the shot, and you want it to match up, right? So we can either drag this down and let it be that intense of a curve back. So we'll probably drag that down just a little bit, but you see we're still too far. We're still where the shot is. It's after the shot. So we want to bring this line down. Perfect. Now we are literally before the shot, and it'll look seamless, even if it isn't perfect. Like, we can drag this down to where it isn't perfect, like right here, and it'll still look good. But for the sake of being accurate, you want to get it as close to before the shot as you can, or to where it looks best. So let's watch how this shot looks. This is a miss. I know, I sunk a miss. Ha ha. And that right there looks very nice. It's not amazing, but it's still something, and I hope you guys get it. So now for this one, seeing as we have all the speed bursts set in place on the right, and there isn't multiple beats here, we're just going to control drag it. Most people click it to the line, just click it to the next one. But what I do, for some reason, I personally think it's a little softer, it's a little nicer, and I do this with every single edit, I do this with every single clip. I go 4 frames back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I continue the control drag to that point. And what that does is, you see how it's like it's literally 4 frames, and this is a 60 FPS project. You will only see 2 frames of this fade when it's rendered in 30, which is what you always should render your montages in. But right here, it's just a quick fade, and it softens it up so it's not as bang bang. It's not 1 2. It's not perfect done. It's just a simple crossfade. So this is the only one we have done. So now we can rinse, wash, repeat, do the same thing. Everything's deselected or from their, respective audio tracks. So we're going to right click, or we're going to click the first. We're going to hold shift, hit the last, and we're going to right click, insert envelope. We're going to hit velocity. So now velocity is on everything. Let's focus on the last shot real quick, just because it's a little different.
Cigarette smoke fills the room.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking right here we're going to cut this off entirely, just because it gives a little hope that he's going to kill the next guy when he doesn't. It's a little disrespectful to him. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get this little vert ramp action going. We're going to hit we're going to make that little marker. We're going to drag up the original first marker. We're going to set it to fast fade, and that'll give you that little vert shape. It doesn't, well, we're going to go to the one frame behind the ending, even though it's not really important here. And we're going to yank it down. We're going to yank it down. You can't go any lower than 38. Let's just see how 38 looks. Just because it's the last shot, we want it to kind of linger. We want it to feel more than it is. So, bam. So, you can already tell that doesn't look terrible. So, we're going to leave that as is. It looks like it pops, it has emphasis, and it also slows down for you to respect what just happened instead of look for more. Like, if you were to have seen just this, you wouldn't think he jumps up and goes for the next guy. And I don't think the next guy is in frame yet, so that's perfect. Yeah, the next guy is not in frame. So, now I'm going to show you guys one more time, and then I'm going to speed through it again. Just because it's going to be pretty much the same rinse, wash, repeat. You're going to make the marker there. You're going to make a marker here. And then you're going to put another one here. I keep calling them markers and points. Whatever the hell you want to call them. You see what I'm doing. You want to set a point in between these two. Set your first peak or your second peak. And you want to set that same peak at the beginning. Perfect. You want to make sure you have the peak set to fast fade. I do not always do this slow fade bit, but it helps. I don't typically find it necessary. So then we're going to go here. We're going to sync up the jump. See, I dragged it down to right before the jump or right as he's jumping. All you have to do is drag this line to adjust where it's going to be at the point at the cursor. So again, I'm going to go down here to right as he jumps. Let me see what's before this. All right, perfect. Right here, right as he jumps. We're going to go to the 8 marker, and right here you can see he shoots, which is where the cut is between the clips. We're going to go one frame back to see where he is before it. And ironically, he's already ready. So what we can do, just because it's not going to look perfect and we want it to be slow, we can set it to something like that, and then we can do that same vert ramp effect on the right side with the slow fade, but we're going to need it to be awfully quick. Now that doesn't look very good. Let's watch it so you can see. See, it doesn't even look like he shoots him. So we're going to be dragging this up. I tried to pull it off, but it didn't happen. The frame before he shoots is odd. Like, this shot shouldn't have hit. What the hell? But right here is right before the shot. Let's see if we can push it up a little more to 93. Oh, okay, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. So now we have this. So that shot works. Now I'm going to fast forward through the rest of this that I'm doing, because it's all going to be the same thing. Rinse, wash, repeat. Editing is a lot of repetition, but you'll appreciate it at some point. You'll appreciate it. It's fun. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up, and we'll see you when I'm done. So here you have it. The sync is done for the clip, and now we can go in here, and we're going to adjust the audio. So now we're going to, again, we're going to drag this to connect them. You can see there's no outstanding waveform. That'll be obstructive to the hearing when you drag them together. Nothing obstructive. Nothing obstructive. You just want them to connect right here. That's an obstruction. You're going to want to adjust that. And then you right there, fade that. And then, very simple stuff, very simple stuff. This is going to need some work done. This is two things right here that are repeating, and you can kind of tell that you'll hear it twice, definitely. So we'll adjust that in a second. But what the important thing is right now is that we adjust all of these, again, back to the fact that they're all equally off because of the way we did this. Now we can zoom in, and we can adjust them all, just like that. And again, if you forgot how to do it, you click the first, hold shift, hit the last, and you select them all and move them. So, now what we want to do is kind of make this work with the last one. So there's also a miss that I forgot about. I believe this is it. Okay. So this is the miss that we forgot about earlier that we randomly decided to drag in here. So now we're going to sync it up with this. So we want to make sure it's perfect. Good. This is perfect. Now we're going to drag this out. Just have it connect to this. And we have to find a way to merge these two now. I don't think that's going to happen. What's that noise? Alright, so there's some weird shit going on here. So I'm thinking we're going to fade that out like that. And we're going to get rid of that noise just so it's a little easier on the ears. We're going to extend... No, we're not going to extend that out. That's a shit show. We're going to set these points on the volume thing that I set, similar to composite level, and we're going to fade them out accordingly and fade them back in. We might do a little bit of that here as well, just to kind of ease the transition between the clips as far as the audio goes. So we're going to set that, lower it a little bit. And right here where I said that it duplicates, so it might be a little odd, and you can tell, that's where we're doing it again. Except it's on a broader scale, and we're going to bring it down. So that should be good. Now what we have to do, the last step, is to click first, hold shift at the last, and adjust the volume for everything across the board. Now we press play and see how it's... Alright, cool. So they all sounded a little too quiet, so we're going to pump up the fruit here. That should be good.
Cigarette smoke.
So, we're going to make the last one louder than the rest, and I think we're going to lower all of them again, just because it wasn't perfect, you know? So we're going to lower all of them again, just a little bit. So around there, perfect. So now one more time for your viewing pleasure, let's take a peek at how this whole thing looks. The first clip is going to be the simple one with the simple control drag, and the next one is velo.
Smoke fills.
Last shot was a little loud. We can adjust that. It's not a big deal. A little too loud anyway. Perfect. That should be the trick. And now the final thing I'm going to show you as far as sync goes is how to merge the two styles together, because you don't always want to use velocity. Fun fact of the day. It's not always necessary. And the most important part about montages is showing off your shot. It's not about how much you can edit. So you want to make sure you keep it as simplistic as possible while showing a little flair. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's just a simple job that you're trying to get done. So right now I think we're going to use this World War II clip. Let's see how many shots it is.
Go.
So cool. It's an all singles 5-on, very clean from Sith Zamy. He's a very good guy. Very nice feeds. All good to go. So we're going to drag this in here. We're going to right click. We're going to disable these like always, and we're going to find each shot again. I'm going to turn off the audio track just so I don't hear it if I press play. So we're going to find all the shots. Bang, that's 1. This is 2. Is this 3? Yeah, this is 3. So you see, bang, we find the flare. See, we find the flare. That's 4. And that's 5. And I don't know if you've noticed it yet, but these are supposedly the hardest CODs to edit. Or at least from what I've gathered on Twitter, these are some of the harder games to edit. And I'm not having much of a problem at all here. It's just it's a matter of mindset, and I get a lot of the problems that people don't enjoy how the game looks, so it throws them off. But you can still edit these clips the same as you can edit any other game. So we've split it on, and now we need 5 shots. And this is a very fast game, as you can see. Like, we're pretty much here, like, on these points. So we're like, we might not need any space in between except for this 3rd shot. So we'll see how it goes.
Smoke fills the room as my lungs turn, lungs turn, lungs turn, lungs turn black. My conviction.
Okay, so we have set, I believe, 7 or so markers, or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the desirable beat to end it on. Let's see if we can make that happen. So we're gonna hold shift, click the first, hit the last, whatever. You know how it goes. You know how the line goes. Let's see, can we take our time with this? So we can drag this in here. We can, again, hold all these. Drag them down here, so this is connected to here. Connect this to here, connect this to here, maybe? Again, there's a lot of trial and error with all this, but I think we can make this work, even though it'll be a little fast. A little fast is not something I typically like to do, and this is where the art of cutting frames comes in, and you'll understand what I mean in a second. So, now all the shots are laid out where we want them, audio-wise as well as visually, so we're going to click the first, hold shift, hit the last, hit U, disconnect them. We're going to shorten these audio files so that the gun sounds are bare, just so nothing's overlapping them. And then right here, so now we're going to go to the first one. Actually, before we do that, again, we want to extend the beginning out just so we can manipulate it later. I'm not going to manipulate it first like I did last time. So right here, I'm going to make this look like a black scope, just because any more and it won't look perfect. So right here, that looks fine, especially when you do this type of stuff to cut frames. You can't be too hard on yourself if it's not picture perfect, because with effects and screen pumps and everything else I'll show you in the later episodes, you literally won't even be able to tell that there's anything wrong. So again, we'll make this look like a black scope kind of thing. It's not going to look perfect, but hey, again, it's not the worst thing you've ever seen in the world. It's a very small distance that you cover. So again, I'm control dragging these. Like, I am not even using velo. This is intentional. I didn't control that just now. I just dragged it, and then this we're gonna use velo because there's a significant beat. It was longer than the other shots, so we're gonna bring this down. I didn't mean to do that. Usually I leave it at 100, but it's not too important where they start off at. So we set our peaks again, and we make sure we use those fast fades on them curves just to get that vert ramp feel. You can visually see it starts off hectic, slows down, and it's a nice smooth slowdown. So that's what you want. That's the reason I do that fade. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So now we're going to find our reason to scope in. I think that's what we're going to use, our reason to have the speed increase. So I think we're going to find, right here is the frame before you scope in. No, it's not. That's wrong. So we're going to drag this up, get the percentage up. Cool. So now that's where he scopes in, and over here we're going to get to the frame when he shoots, or the frame before it, which is actually a lot closer than I would have imagined. And then we'll do that same vert ramp thing because I don't want it to get faster than that in the middle, in between the points. So, right here, perfect, the frame before he shoots. Bam. Then we're going to do the same thing here, except we're going to make this final shot a black scope because he is fucking Pomage, you know? So we're going to make him look like a killer on screen for all of the fans. So it's a simple control drag, it's pretty much already there on its own. And then let's find a beat to cut it off.
I've lost my
So right here, we're good to go. We're going to shorten that too, even though it's unnecessary. And we're going to add velo to the last shot as it's the most important. We're going to have it spike up quite a bit, but we're also going to yank it down to like 38 or 45. Right here we'll do 45 because I feel like this game doesn't look perfect at peak slowness. And right here, you'll be able to see. Maybe too much peak. Maybe too much peak, so we'll lower that. And there you go. It's sunk. Now let's focus on this. So we're going to sync that movement right here where the gun is coming up. This is something that I like to do. Again, you have to be able to feel it. You have to see these things. Like, I was able to pick up right here where this gun picks up. That's the beginning of the movement. That is a very desirable thing to sync. So right here, a lot of movements are things you need to start noticing and feeling, and you can kind of notice that they'll fit together with the music. So again, we'll add velo to this. We're just going to drag it over. No control dragging when you use velo, and we will pop it up just so that it's more pronounced. You want it to be more pronounced along with the music. So then we're going to go one frame back. And again, we're going to drag it down to the frame before the shot. Perfect. Bang. That's it. Then we're going to find this. We're going to control drag this as well to 4 frames behind this clip. Again, no perfect clicking. There's no point for clicking. So in the next video, you will see me showing you how to do some simple transitions to make your montages better. But for now, we're just going to go into the text. And that's going to be the end of that. So, right here.
cigarette smoke fills the room as my lungs turn black. I've lost my
So that's sync. That's synced pretty well. So now we're going to fix the audio before we get into the text, like I was saying. And before we get into the text, I'm going to show you guys about the black bar layer that I had you set up earlier that I never did do anything with. I'm not going to do any black bars. I'm just going to show you. Whoa, that's a weird noise. So here we're probably going to rip one of these sounds just because we can, just because we're professional about it. Control CV, and you see I didn't even cut it where it starts. I just cut it at the same place just so it's just so we can treat it the same as the others when we control drag. And then we just simply do this. Okay, so now we have the same thing going on, except here we're gonna have to do some fading. You know how we do. And then we just kill it to 0 just because there's going to be a gap and we want the audio to be seamless. We want there to be no problems. And right here, that's perfect. That is useful as shit. You can see right here, there is the audio from the AW clip and the audio from the World War II clip. There is literally nothing going on here. So you could just have it come all the way out here and fade in. So it's a seamless transition between the audio tracks. So now we're going to turn on the music. I'm just going to go on a limb here. I think I want it to be that quiet. Let's see how that sounds. Nope, a little quieter. Now the hit markers on this game are super thick. It sounds like you're hitting someone over the head with a fucking watermelon. And then again, we're gonna raise that last shot. I think one of these shots in specific we're gonna lower. That one needs to be destroyed. So I'm going to cut out that reaction because it's not the best type of reaction. And we'll see if I have to do anything with the... I keep forgetting what this is called. the volume bar or whatever, the volume line. So we'll see if I have to do anything with that here, like some shit like this whenever I'm syncing the rest of this up. I'm going to sync the rest of this up out of video just so that I can get to the more important stuff in the next episode. So in the next episode, expect me to show you some transitions and how this actually looks when it's done being synced. But let's go into the last two things in this video that are relatively important. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your media generators, and you're going to find a white solid color, and you're going to drag it onto this layer up top that I set up for the black bars. Okay? You're going to extend it, match it with your song, just have it be as long as you need it to be. Now, we're going to set with this green button right here. You can see it right here. I'm trying to get the name of it, the compositing mode. Haha, I sound intellectual now. You want to go to multiply mask, and what that does is it makes it see-through, but not quite. It's not perfectly see-through, and I say not perfectly because if I go into the pan crop and I turn off this very, very helpful tool. By the way, you need to have this tool on at all times. I will bash that into your head in the next episode. But right here, this very helpful tool, it's called lock aspect ratio. You turn that off, and now I can drag this down perfectly, and it is some black bar action. Very helpful tool. So we're going to restore that. I'm actually just going to delete the keyframe. Anyway, not to distract you guys, but that is how you do your black bars, and you need to set that up every time in your project file. I'm going to add another video track for the text, and I'm going to put it under the little black bar layer. Now let's go to the beginning. I'm only going to do one example of the text. So right here is our little marker. That is the beginning of that first little the little strum. Yeah, I just imitated it with my voice. I imitated a guitar. I'm a fucking god. So right there, that is the sound we want to capitalize on. So we're going to drag in text, and I'm going to call this editing 101. Okay? So now it doesn't really matter what the font is, but we'll lower it a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to adjust through the fonts, see if we can find anything that's more desirable than Arial. Even though Arial is actually a pretty outstanding font, people really underestimate how useful this font can be. I really don't want to have to... Can't I just like down arrow through these fonts? No, I can't. Okay, so let's just Birch STD. No, nobody wants any STDs in their life. That's kind of ugly. Nah. I'm lazy. I don't know fonts off the top of my head like that. All right, we're gonna go back to Arial. Too lazy to do this. All right, so we have Arial ready. It's not the worst font in the world. It actually isn't bad at all. You want to keep it bold, I'd say, but it's all about preference. And now the thing you need to know that I just found out myself. You see how it limits you here, so you can't really animate past that point. What you want to do is you want to go over here and just set that shit to like fucking 10 days. I don't know what the hell that is. I think it's seconds, minutes, hours, days. We're setting it to 10 days length. No, we're not. I don't want to do that. I feel like I'll crash my Vegas. I'll set it to 10 minutes. Wait, yeah, 10 minutes. No, that's 10 hours. What am I doing? No, it's 10. Okay, now I'm on it. That's 10 minutes. All right, good. So we set it to 10 minutes. Then we click close, and you see now that goes away, and now we have a lot more timeline space to work with, even though we don't need it for this particular instance. But make sure you turn that off every time, because when you get further in depth and you start animating your text, that's going to become a problem. So, again, like with every other layer, we're going to turn on our composite level or volume mixer, but right now it's our composite level since it's a video track, and we're going to go, I'd say, 5 frames back. So that's 5 frames back, and we're going to drag this there, and then we're going to go 7 frames forward. Okay, so now 7 frames have gone by with the text on screen, and we're going to establish what looks best. So I'd say we want to keep it simple. So something around here. Something around here looks good, and then we want to go to the end. I'm just going to go here just so I can see it, and then we're going to drag it out even more. Wait, is it not adjusting? Oh, shit. I forgot to... You see, boys, you forgot to tell me to turn off the thing, to turn on the thing again. It's very important to make sure that that's on at all times other than when you're adjusting black bars. So again, we're going to lower this, and then we're going to go to the end, and we're going to lower that even more. That should be good. We don't want it to be too crazy a movement. You can always adjust it with your eye, what looks best. But now here's the more important part of the animation. You want to zoom it all the way in. Like, this looks silly, but this is actually what I do. So you want to zoom that in, and you can see now it'll get that little bang, like that little poppy type of animation. So now with our composite level, we're probably going to have to drag a point there, drag a point here, set another point here. We're going to lower this to around here just so that it's not full opacity when it hits you in the face. Maybe set some linear fade action just so it's a steady increase. Okay, and then we're just going to have it fade out from that last marker we made right here, just so that there's a little bit of time on screen where it's perfectly opaque. Let's actually extend that a little more. So now, this is what we got. I hope you guys found this very helpful. I hope you guys learned a lot. I'll play this text thing over again just so you can see how it looks. And as you can see, it has that very nice appealing pop to it where it just sucks in and it slowly fades away and drifts off. So, I will see you guys in the next episode. I will see you guys on stream tomorrow. I've been starting to stream relatively early, so hopefully you guys don't miss out on that. But that's going to be the end of the video here. Peace out, friends.
Cigarette smoke fills the room as my lungs turn black. I've lost my conviction to pull the knife out of my back.